Okay, I'm going to show you how to add a grid and do everything you need to do. Posterize your photo, turn it to black and white, whatever you need to do in Photoshop Online. There's a link in Schoology. You have now clicked on it and you should have a screen that looks like this. If you do not have a screen that looks like this, I will show you what another screen will look like in just a second. But up here, make sure that Photoshop is selected. And we're going to upload a file. So you need to know where your file is, and you're going to click Upload a File, upload from your computer. My pictures are in here that I'm going to use. A lot of these photos are really bright, so I'm choosing not to use them just because I wanted a well-lit photo. This one I don't really want to draw Hayden's head like it is. I would rather have it straight on. Remember, we talked about that in class, what photo to pick. So I'm going to come through here and I am going to pick this one of Hayden, okay? And I'm going to open that. So now I have a photo of Hayden. Notice that mine is already gridded. I'm going to turn that off. You do not have to do this part quite yet. I am going to then show you how to add that. So I don't want to draw Hayden all. I want to crop her down, okay? So everybody has to do this step. Whether they're doing something in black and white or color, this step needs to be done because your file is probably not the correct size. So I'm going to come up here to this where it says size and position, and I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to come down here to crop. Now, lovely online Photoshop is a little silly. So I'm going to make sure that this is unlocked right now. Okay, so I've clicked on that. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to press 6. And I want my height to be 9. All right, because I want it to be 9 by 6. I want this to be a vertical. If you would like it to be horizontal, it would switch. I'm going to now lock this, and I can switch this between horizontal and vertical right here, but I do want her to be a vertical picture. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag it to the area in which I want to draw of Hayden. I can have some of the background if I want some of the background, or I can crop in really tight. Whatever you want to draw, remember that if you have a large background, you might want to think about the words you're going to put in your background, things like that, how much hair you want to draw. Part of Hayden's ear is showing. It's not really something I particularly want to draw, but I'm going to challenge myself and do that. So now I'm going to hit done, and now we've zoomed in on little Miss Hayden right here. Okay, I am going to take this and put it over here because I do not want that there, and I don't know how to get rid of it, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is I want to do mine in black and white. I feel that that will be a more successful drawing. I know that I can get value out of it. I could add color, maybe color to her eyes if I wanted to, but I do want this in black and white. So the simplest thing to do is come over here where it says quick actions, and up here it should say classic black and white. If it doesn't, then I will help you find that. Just ask me. So I'm going to click on this, and now I have a classic black and white drawing or picture. Now I do know that this is a little light. I want a little bit more contrast in that. I want some more medium tones because I want this to be a successful value drawing. So I'm going to close out of that. I'm going to come over here to where it says show layer properties. I got layers here. I'm going to come up here to where it says adjustment layers. See that? It is under our layers, adjustment layers. And I'm going to click on that. And I want to do there are 2 things I'm going to do to it. I'm going to do brightness contrast to begin with, all right? And I am going to bring this brightness down just a little. I can use my up and down arrows, over and back arrows to do that too, to adjust a little bit. And then maybe I want a little more contrast in it, so I'm going to up that as well. Okay? So now I have that, and then I'm going to come back up to here, and I'm going to do levels. Levels is super powerful. It is something I use quite a bit when I'm editing photos. So I'm going to come here. I am not going to mess with this one. This is going to lighten her. I'm going to show you what it does. It lightens her up. I don't want to do that. I'm going to mess with my midtones in here and my blacks. Moving it over is going to make it darker, and it's going to adjust these midtones also. I don't want it lighter. I want it a little bit darker. Again, you can use your over buttons to nudge. And once I have that done, I'm going to click off of here. Okay? Then I'm going to click on this top, and I'm going to do Command E. And then that did not work. I'm going to close this. Then I'm going to hold Shift and click on both of them, and then I'm going to Command E. So sometimes Mrs. really does mess up. So now I have one layer, and that's super important, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to, again, move this over here because I don't want it there. And I'm going to view our grid. Okay, there's two steps to this, especially if you downloaded something from the internet. You want to come up here to this main menu, and you want to go to Document, and then you want to come down to Image Size. And we're going to come in here, and we're going to look at this. And then we need to change this. This needs to be 6, and this needs to be 9. When you type 6 in, it should work. I'm not quite sure why mine was set at 3. And then you want the resolution to be 300. That is important. So you definitely want it to be this size right here, okay? This should be exactly what you want it to look like. And I'm going to take a quick screenshot of that to throw in the handout that we have. And then I'm going to press OK. This is important because we want to make sure that when we view our grid that it is correct. So I'm going to come up here. And I'm going to come down to View, and you're going to see that there is a grid, and then there's down here it says Grid, which is what we're going to turn on. But we want to make sure we have the right grid. So we're going to click here, and then this comes up, and I want my spacing to be 2 and my subdivisions to be 2, and make sure this says inches, okay? That is also very important. I'm going to grab a screenshot of that. You don't obviously have to do that. And then I'm going to make sure that says that. I don't have to press done. I don't have to press anything. It just verifies that. Okay. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to turn on my grid. And now I have a nice, lovely grid over Hayden's face. I want to make sure that there are 9 squares and 6 squares. So I'm going to count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then there is 6 across. Okay. Then I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more on this. Nope. 50% is perfect. So I want this at 50%. If you have a horizontal picture, you're going to want that at 67%. Yes, 67%. But 50% is perfect. And then I need to take a screenshot of this. Now, I don't usually do screenshots, but I have to do a screenshot because if we save this grid disappears. This grid is only for viewing purposes. So I am going to Command-Shift-4, and I'm going to come up to this corner, and I'm going to come down to this corner, and now I have a screenshot. Okay, so this is our regular picture of Miss Hayden. Okay, now we're going to posterize it because actually for this assignment, posterizing works really well. When we do this assignment in Photoshop, we go in and posterize it, and then we put our words within those areas, and it works really nicely. So we are going to do that. So we're going to come down here to Effects. We don't have to turn our grid off because it's just going to stay there. It doesn't hurt anything. And we're going to come down to Half Tone. Mrs. Reilly, that's just added dots to my picture. That is not what I want, and I am aware of that. So we're going to come down here. And I do not know why I just did halftone. That is incorrect. I don't want that. We're going to undo that. We don't want halftone. We want comic. My bad. I'm going to hit cancel. Now I'm going to come down to comic. sorry. We're going to come down to comic and we're going to hit comic, but we want to get rid of the dots. So we're going to get rid of them. It says none. Okay. Now we know that a good drawing has at least 5 values and you all want to get more than a 3. So you're going to come over here and you want more than a color count. So you want a minimum of probably 6. And that's what that is going to do. I can go to 7. Right? Now, I can see here that there's not a lot of blacks in this. So I can actually up that right here. I can do a little bit of more dark fill if I want. That might be a little too much. Just a little. These don't really do much. Okay. What I would probably do is I would go back in and make my photo a little bit more, a little darker. This is a little light for my preference because I know that I'm going to have to use some pretty light writing on here, which is fine. It will work. I prefer my Frida one that I showed you a little bit better. But notice this takes all of our hard things to draw, like a nose and her teeth and her eyes, and it simplifies it for us. So now it is easier to draw the features because we're not really looking for a nose now. We're looking at the shapes. It still looks like Hayden's nose, but it is simplified a lot. So when I am done with that, I'm going to hit done, and then I'm going to move this bad boy one more time. Now, can I go in here and come up to these adjustments and do some more brightness and contrast with it? Let's see if we can. A little. Yeah, I like that better. So if you're not happy with the colors and things like that, you can add in some levels and things like that right now to darken up those values a little bit. And I like that a lot better. I wish there was a little bit more posterized tones through it, but we're perfectly fine with that. I am okay with this now. So now I'm going to click out of this, move my levels over here. I am going to screenshot this again at 50%. And now I have 2 screenshots. Those screenshots now will be uploaded to Schoology in the assignment that says pictures to print or faces to print. You will put them in there and then Mrs. Really will print them out. I will print them out so that way they're their correct size because we want them to be 6x9 so that way you can do them 12x18. So that is the easy way to do this.